Ideagn TV. I am Adriana Safakis, co-founder of Ideagn. Ideagn is a company who believes in building partnerships with other leaders and luminaries to change the world for the better. We are presented globally by Microsoft, and we work with others like UsAgainstAlzheimer's, the United Nations, and many others to use our voices collectively against all platforms to solve major issues that affect our world. Particularly and personally, one of the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals that I support in my role at Ideagn, and also in my role as a woman-owned business and leader of the Italian Place, is goal number 5, empowering women and girls. Ideagn is especially excited to adapt from our in-person summits to our online platform by way of Ideagn TV to reach a more broader global audience. We have a fantastic program today that highlights powerful voices from empowered women who support important causes that affect us all. We stand by with excitement to learn more about what we can do to empower each other with our collective voices and call to action. It's a pleasure to introduce a dear friend and colleague, Meryl Comer. Amongst many other important roles Meryl has held over the years, Meryl has served as a leader in solving issues that affect many in areas of women and health, and to solving the cause and progression of Alzheimer's disease as co-founder of UsAgainstAlzheimer's, and as the chair of the Global Alliance of Women's Brain Health. What I love about Meryl is that she builds partnerships, alliances, and works collectively with others to make a difference for those who stand before us. As a champion, pioneer, and leader, Meryl's voice resonates beautifully and incredibly well as she partners with other like-minded leaders who we will hear from today and who all help others to solve these big challenges we face today. Welcome, Meryl.
Hi there, Adriana. I much prefer in person. I mean, none of us could have predicted what we're talking about as our new normal. You know, the crisis really speaks to how interconnected we are around the world. And for today's program, we're going to hear women leaders, spirited change agents that are out to transform women's health. And we're going to try to capture, Adriana, that same excitement and energy from Ideagn's past Empowering Women and Girls Summits that I attended at the United Nations.
Indeed, absolutely. We're excited to hear from leaders like you.
Today's world faces many challenges, the most significant of which are identified in the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. 193 member states of the United Nations ratified these goals, which range from ending hunger to gender equality and sustainability. Ideagn's 17 Days of Sustainability covers the 17 global goals. One goal is highlighted per day and showcases how the world's leading organizations address these goals, and includes over 100 speakers, leaders and luminaries from across sectors, sharing insights, perspectives, and partnerships to achieve the global goals by 2030. The valiant effort is only possible through the education, awareness, and collaboration of individuals and organizations who strive for a better society and planet. Ideagn's 17 Days of Sustainability runs September 17th through October 9th. Let's talk. Let's learn. Let's make a difference.
Welcome back. Our program today is a celebration of what's possible through collaboration and a testament of how women are uniting to forge a new frontier in disease prevention. We're also here to help you gain an insider's perspective about health as the new wealth and how we get there from a very impressive group of global women leaders. Our goal is to promote a new scientific agenda, drive more funding for sex-based research. It's the only way to get to precision medicine. And we're out to inspire world leaders to create policies that address the economic inequities that hold women back. The all-women leadership of the Global Alliance on Women's Brain Health, the Global Brain Trust, WAM, and the Women's Brain Project Switzerland is distinguished and diverse. We count prominent scientists, business and NGO executives, and public figures among our intergenerational thought leaders. Let's lead off with a personal note to women around the world from our Global Brain Trust ambassador and famed international opera and music artist, Renee Fleming.
Hello, I'm Renee Fleming, Global Ambassador and a member of the global Be Brain Powerful Brain Trust, headquartered in Switzerland. We support the UN Sustainable Development Goals and the progress of women everywhere through our mission to promote brain and mental health across the lifespan. And we accomplish that through the Be Brain Powerful campaign, designed to empower and join women globally to transform brain health for everyone, women and men, young and old, now and for future generations. This call to action could not be timelier. As a performing artist, I have long been fascinated with the powerful effect of music on the brain and human health. I even had my brain activity scanned in an fMRI while singing for Sound Health, my collaboration with the NIH and the Kennedy Center. In May, I launched my own web series, Music and Mind Live, focused on the intersection of music, neuroscience, and health. But artists need a stage, and right now, the performing hall lights are dark, as are many industries around the world. Social cohesion, a keystone of human evolution, is difficult now, but we will persevere in this pandemic through the human connection. To all young women around the world, do not lose hope. You are the shining light of our future.
Throughout our program today, you'll be hearing from Renee Fleming as she uses her voice to support women's health. Later, we are going to take her up on her invitation to see what happens when a musical virtuoso teams up with scientists at the National Institute of Health.
Adriana, it's well worth waiting for. As we're all aware, the COVID-19 pandemic is predicted to have long-term effects on our brain and mental health for years to come. So it's up to each of us to take measures, no matter what our age, to protect our brain health that will help ensure that we stay resilient in these troubled times. Now we'll hear from George Friedenberg, a philanthropist who champions women, about efforts by the private sector and NGOs working with governments to get ahead of the growing needs of aging populations globally who are now living long enough to get advanced diseases of aging like dementia and Alzheimer's. The goal for all of us is to make certain that our brain span matches our lifespan. And then you'll be introduced to the Be Brain Powerful campaign, launched first by UsAgainstAlzheimer's in the US in 2018, with former First Lady Laura Bush as honorary chair, and again last week in Switzerland at the International Forum on Women's Brain and Mental Health across the lifespan.
My name is George Vredenberg, chairman and founder of Us Against Alzheimer's, a member of the World Dementia Council, and now a distinguished fellow at the World Economic Forum and the convener of the Global CEO Initiative on Alzheimer's. Thank you very much for having me here with you today. The world is facing a healthcare crisis that has devastating effects on the health and lives of older adults, a crisis that is causing broad societal and economic disruptions, a crisis whose effects ripples across communities, families, workforces, and economies. Yes, of course, that's COVID-19, but each of those elements is also true with respect to Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Imagine what would happen if we could flatten the dementia curve. And emerging science tells us that it's possible to delay or prevent up to a third of Alzheimer's cases through diet and other lifestyle changes and better management of related risk factors. That's where the Be Brain Powerful campaign comes in. This campaign engages with women, led by women, to transform lifestyle behaviors, not only for themselves, but their families, to improve their brain health. We launched this campaign in the United States in 20 18. Now we're delighted that the campaign is expanding to Switzerland.
Hi, I'm Ideagn, Honorary President of the Women's Brain Project and Vice Chair of the Global BBP Brain Trust. I'm here to help launch the Be Brain Powerful campaign, designed to transform the way we see, think, and talk about our brain and mental health across the lifespan. After all, these two issues go hand in hand. Goal number 1 for this year-long campaign is to shine a spotlight on how women can drive positive health changes for themselves, their families, and their communities. Women have already been change makers for key health issues from heart disease to breast cancer. Now it's time for our brains. Goal number 2 is to arm you with the latest research and lifestyle interventions that will give your brain precisely what it needs, not just to power you through these challenging times, but to really thrive. We want your brain to be top of mind. Every campaign needs influential advocates, and we have many. Let's hear first from Global Ambassador and member of the Global Brain Trust, international performing and recording artist, Renee Fleming.
Hello, I'm Renee Fleming, Global Ambassador and a member of the Global Be Brain Powerful Brain Trust. Congratulations to the Women's Brain Project Switzerland on their forum and launch of the Be Brain Powerful campaign. And please note that the Global Brain Trust, under the leadership of Chair Andrea Pfeiffer, CEO of AC Immune, co-chair Mara Hank-Moray, and a remarkable group of influential women support your mission to promote brain and mental health across the lifespan.
Thank you, Renee. We are so honored to have you with us. Representing the Global Alliance on Women's Brain Health today is Alison Evans, Director of Policy and Impact from one of the founding partner organizations, Alzheimer's Research UK.
Hi, I'm Alison Evans, Head of Policy from Alzheimer's Research UK. As founding partners in the Global Alliance on Women's Brain Health, we're absolutely delighted that the Women's Brain Project is today taking on board Be Brain Powerful and launching the campaign. Why is this campaign so important? To be brain powerful, to think about from the neck up, how do we look after our brains, both for ourselves because of the impact that dementia has on women, as carers of people who are living with dementia, but also as the chief medical officers of our own households. How do we think about what we're doing today, how we look after our brain, how we make sure that we eat the right things, take our daily exercise. In a time of COVID, when we're all on a much simpler lifestyle and a form of lockdown, how do we make those little contributions that help today, but also help for tomorrow? So I really wish you all the best on launching this campaign today in Switzerland, and we're delighted to see you take this forward. Together, we can make sure that we look after women's brain health. It's important for everyone today and also tomorrow.
Thank you, Alison. WBP's partnership with the Global Alliance on Women's Brain Health is based on a powerful premise that brain health and sex-based research will pave the way to precision medicine and breakthroughs in how we treat, prevent, and eventually cure Alzheimer's. Why are we optimistic? Because the latest research from the Lancet International Commission estimates that over 40% of dementia cases globally could be prevented by addressing 12 modifiable risk factors. And the optimum gains can be made in women between the ages of 30 and 70. Every successful health campaign needs an app of its own, but WBP has taken it a step further, offering its version of the 30-day Brain Health Challenge in English, French, German, and Italian. Let's look at how the spirit of the campaign is captured in the video for the Swedish launch in Stockholm.
Behind every great woman is a great brain. Be Brain Powerful, a campaign for women's brain health, brings awareness, community, and research together to address one of the world's most pressing healthcare challenges, dementia and neurocognitive decline. More than 50 million individuals around the globe are currently living with a form of dementia, making brain health incredibly crucial for women of all ages to prioritize. By following 3 simple steps, you can align with risk reduction methods based on the International Finger Study to prevent or delay cognitive decline through lifestyle changes made over time. Step 1. Download the Jeris Solution app, free of charge. Create an account. Select the Be Brain Powerful Challenge and ensure to accept post notifications. Step 2. Come back to the app every day to get your daily challenge and tips on how to improve your brain health. Step 3. By prioritizing your brain health, you will also be helping Swedish scientists gain new insights and perspectives with your profile's data. What could be better than that? The more you know now, the better you are equipped to maintain a healthy brain. Join our 30-day brain health challenge with Jeris Solutions, and let's make brain health top of mind. #BrainGoals.
The Be Brain Powerful campaign is reaching tens of thousands of women with its virtual 30-day brain health challenge, and we encourage all of you to sign up. Now, I am pleased to introduce Dr. Andrea Pfeiffer, co-founder and CEO of AC Immune and chair of the Global Brain Trust, who generously made the Swiss edition of the campaign possible.
A warm congratulations to the Women's Brain Project and the Global Alliance on Women's Brain Health and other sponsors like Biogen and Lobnick Health Management for joining AC Immune in supporting the Be Brain Powerful campaign that is today more timely than ever. The coronavirus pandemic has really shone a light on mental health, and in particular, women's mental health. Juggling work and home, social isolation, job uncertainty, lack of childcare, these have all taken their toll. But in this immediate crisis, we must remember that there is a slower pandemic on the horizon and we must act now. As CEO of a biotech company developing new diagnostic and medicines for Alzheimer's disease, I know how devastating that diagnosis is. And it's hard as we scientists, and I'm one of them, and doctors around the world are trying, we do not have a cure today. This means on current trends, by the year 2045, Switzerland may have around 270,000 cases and about 200,000 cases will be women. This is almost equivalent to the entire population of Geneva. The prospect of losing this number of mothers, daughters, wives, friends, sisters, aunts, grandmas, nieces to such a cruel disease is something none of us should accept. And this is why we are here today. Because in a year where I think we have all had enough difficult news, there is hope. There are simple steps we can already take today to protect and enhance our brain health. This is at the heart of Be Brain Powerful campaign. And while I'm proud to back this initiative by Women's Brain Project and the Global Alliance on Women's Brain Health, we have engaged a select group of significant women across sectors to leverage the power of their intellect and influence and start a global initiative to protect our brains and mental health.
What attracted me in the Be Brain Powerful campaign is really the fact that I would help support the awareness, raising the awareness of our brain health. Today, we spend so much time taking care of ourselves, of our health, And we sometimes forget the most important part of it because it's not visible, and it's our brain. And just for that, I think it's very powerful. And again, our brain is our emotional intelligence, and we need to keep that rolling to enjoy our life to the most.
Guten Tag. I'm Megan Beyer. I'm the U.S. representative to the Global Brain Trust. And I am so happy that women in Switzerland are convening to address this dire problem for our families and our communities. And to be part of this Women's Brain Project in Switzerland is very important to me because, of course, when my husband was the ambassador to Switzerland for 4 years, I conducted the Sister Republics Project. So I know what can happen in der Schweiz when all the women get together and decide that their families and their communities are going to address a problem. And so this is going to be a Be Brain Powerful success. This campaign will change the lives of Swiss families, and I look forward to being a part of it.
I'm a great believer in the need to treat brain health as an integral part of overall health. The Be Brain Powerful campaign is focused on hope. It's designed to empower and join women globally to transform brain health for everyone, women and men, young and old, now and for future generations. Congratulations to all.
Our sincere appreciation to our global ambassador, Renee Fleming, and members of the Global Brain Trust. We know that your powerful thought leadership will represent us well on the world stage. And for all of you joining us, we're just getting started. The goal of the Be Brain Powerful campaign is to engage millions of women globally through outreach, partnerships, and collaboration. Today's launch by the Women's Brain Project here in Switzerland is another milestone on that journey. Join us at bebrainpowerful.org, and don't forget to sign up and take the 30-day challenge. I'm Mara Hankmore. Thank you for being with us.
Now it's a special treat to hear from singer, songwriter, and actress Mandy Moore, who has 4.5 million followers on Instagram, 2.4 million on Twitter, 6.4 million watch the show she stars in called This Is Us. She is using her celebrity power to address a critical issue for women. And Mandy Moore joined us today as the National Ambassador to the Be Brain Powerful campaign.
Hi, I'm Mandy Moore, and I'm thrilled to be an ambassador for the Be Brain Powerful campaign. So I play a character named Rebecca Pearson on NBC show This Is Us, and it's a role that I've really cherished and one that has touched my heart over the last 4 seasons. Without getting into the weeds of who my character is, if you haven't seen the show, she is the matriarch of this family, and you get to live with her throughout different chapters and decades of her life. And last season, my character was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And with This Is Us, you get to see how she and her family sort of live with the range of challenges and emotions that come along with that diagnosis. I have honestly learned so much through my own research and discussions with experts and people living with Alzheimer's and other dementias. But did you know that women are twice as likely as men to develop Alzheimer's? That African American and Latina women have Alzheimer's at disproportionately higher rates? That women make up 2/3 of our nation's 16 million Alzheimer's caregivers? Women also pay the direct cost of Alzheimer's. It's estimated that women bear 80% of the disease's total economic burden, including medical costs, elder care, and assisted living. Now, I've been learning a lot about the importance of early detection and diagnosis for Alzheimer's disease, but unfortunately, early detection doesn't happen nearly often enough. In fact, 60 to 80% of these cases just go unrecognized. Why does that matter? Well, it matters because diagnosis often comes too late in disease progression, and then the impact felt on families is devastating. That's why it's so important for all of us to be having this conversation now and understanding our brain health. This is the first step in breaking down these barriers by having these conversations sooner with our girlfriends and our loved ones, and most importantly, with our healthcare providers. And that's also where Be Brain Powerful comes in. It empowers women specifically to take control of our brain health. The campaign arms people with information they need to preserve and protect their brains, including a 30-day brain health challenge, which is essentially a series of challenges around nutrition and exercise and sleep. The campaign was launched by Us Against Alzheimer's, and former First Lady Laura Bush is the honorary chair. I am looking forward to helping spread awareness about brain health. You know, new studies show that we can take an active role in delaying or even preventing dementia. In fact, Us Against Alzheimer's is leading an effort to encourage our government leaders to embrace a national prevention goal for Alzheimer's. Now, this is a groundbreaking effort to reshape the national conversation we have around this disease. How can we lower our risk? Important question. We can do that by caring for our minds and our bodies, focusing on our mental and emotional health, eating well, sleeping, and exercising. I took the Brain Health Challenge myself, and it really did serve as a daily reminder of the things that I know I can do to care for my brain. Our brains should always be top of mind, pun intended. Thousands have taken the Brain Health Challenge, and I know this effort will continue to grow as we continue to share it far and wide. So join us. Be a part of the Be Brain Powerful campaign.
Our gratitude to Mandy Moore for using her voice to take up this important cause.
You know, Adriana, we all need role models, and I'd like to introduce an inspirational fashion icon and fierce woman health advocate who was way ahead of her time. Joining us now is a businesswoman and entrepreneur who built Carolee Designs into a multi-million-dollar company that employed more than 85% women. Today, she pursues her passion for improving women's well-being, from financial and life planning to healthy living. Welcome, Carolee. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting me. What a pleasure.
Carolee, let's pretend this is speed dating. I would like to look at the major milestones in the life cycle of your business and what lessons for women who want to might you share?
Thank you for that, Meryl. And obviously there are so many that I'd like to share, but let's face it, building a company is a daunting task. And part of that is because I believe so many people will tell you, oh, it's never been done that way, or it can't be done that way. Oh, you should have think about it in a different way. And the fact is that it takes a huge amount of perseverance and determination to stay very focused and to make sure that your vision, which I'm sure is unique, is one that can be fulfilled. So surrounding yourself with people who really are smarter than you are, and getting the skills that you might not have so that they're complementary to you, and staying very focused on what that vision is, I think is the most important part of what you can impart, both as a leader and to your team, because you're the one who has the vision that everybody's following. So those are some of the things that I think are really critical. And also, I guess, challenging the status quo all the time and figuring out how to do things differently, innovatively, and in a more meaningful and collaborative way. And finding those people and mentors who you can collaborate with and who can help you along the way.
Carolee, there's so many young women out there that, and because I've read your biography, I really, let's go back to your early days when you were just not a fashion icon. You were stringing beads and pitching them, because I think young women will relate to the aspiration of being in business, but just a sample of what it took.
So, yeah, I think, how many moments do you have in your life where you second guess or you question, is this the right thing? Is anyone really going to want this? Am I going to sell these products? Am I making things that people love? And it just goes on and on. So, look, I think my success is one of those quintessential entrepreneurial success stories where I started on my kitchen table, like Meryl said, stringing beads. Actually, I started in college to make money and have pocket money to just be able to afford things in college. And I was stringing beads on leather cord. So it takes a tremendous amount of fortitude. It takes a tremendous amount of vision and energy to make all these things happen.
Those are great insights, Carolee, and we're so thrilled to have you today on our Ideagn platform. I have a quick question for you about your experience as the CEO of a company that employed predominantly women and how that affected and impacted your management style.
So, it's an interesting story. I suspect that the company was 85% women because women gravitated obviously towards the product that we were creating. But I think also because I had an empathy and an understanding of what it took to be a woman and have children and try to run a business, build a business, have a husband, and balance all of these things. And let's face it, you can't do them all perfectly, and they all become very challenging. I think because I gave women a lot of latitude, since I had the same issues of trying to get to my kids' soccer games and or having a child at home who wasn't well, I think I understood the needs of women much better and attracted a very loyal workforce because of that. So I think that continued to feed on my ability to find extraordinary women to join the company and help me grow it. And that was the team that I built was just an amazing team. So much so that when I sold the company that bought Carolee Designs let my management team run the company for a number of years.
That's a great tribute to you. Carolee, Melinda Gates, the co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, when speaking on the value of gender equity, has been quoted as saying, if you invest in a woman, she invests in everyone else around her. Now, does that connect with your vision for Access Circles, which is a by invitation only global network for women?
So building an enterprise is a difficult thing to do. But if you think about bringing women together to help them understand how to manage their health and well-being, as well as their financial and life planning parts of their lives, you enrich not only yourself, but everyone around you because of the connectivity that we bring to each other and because of the value that we bring to each other in our unique experiences. So Access Circles was a wonderful way for me to foster those kinds of relationships in women, to put them in a unique and trusted environment in which they could share intimate parts of their lives with other women and learn from each other so that we become better at what we do. We become healthier. We become more balanced. We become more knowledgeable. Our families become closer. And the companies that we work in are enriched. So it just is a consistently healthy way to feed our circles, if you will, as well as each other, and become just much better in the long run.
Carolee, what was your wake-up call to the shocking disparity in women's health research?
I think there were many along the way. I was always fascinated and interested. Obviously, I'm very focused on equality and always have been. And I always sought out information, and I guess it was given to me as a business leader. People would, tell me things like, "Aren't you shocked that?" or "Aren't you surprised that?" And so let's take venture capital, for example. So less than 2%, I believe it is, of all assets are accessed by women for venture capital money. I mean, how is that possible? How do women start businesses then, if that's the case? And why is that so? And so it would go. And yet women are the economic engines of every country. So it would surprise me when I would hear these contradictory bits of data that would say, but women are not part of clinical trials. And you would read something like that and you would say, that's not possible. And, there have been so many instances in my life where I've said, that's not possible. But I think when it comes down to health, and I started realizing that women basically are an understudied species. And when I started finding that out, I reached out to, again, many people, a lot smarter than I am, in the world of health and wellness, and at the leading institutions, to ask them if that was really the case. Are these things really true? Are women not studied? Are female mice not included? And why is that? And how is that possible? And by the way, what impact does that have on our well-being, and therefore the well-being of our families, our companies, and the economy at large? And I think it was when I did some research to understand what might be available to show what would happen if we accelerated women's health research, that I realized there wasn't any. And that was when I think the biggest aha moment hit me that, there's something we could all do about this. There's something that I felt I could create enough energy around this subject and this issue to create a major shift and change and make women's lives that much better by making them healthier and well.
So like the businesswoman you are, Carolee, you founded WHAM to address the disparities in women's health research, not with just one approach, but with a three-pronged approach. Can you quickly describe them before we meet the other women who have joined your call to action?
Yes, absolutely. So, when you're starting something like this, and it's very similar to when I started my first business, I think there needs to be tremendous clarity about your vision and how you're going to achieve it. And it seemed very obvious to me that there were three ways that we could have a major impact. The first was to create what we were referring to as the Investigators Fund. And that would be a fund that would raise money from private individuals and foundations to support women's health research, specifically in areas where there was the greatest delta. And the second was and I should say we raised $1 million within the first year. And we've supported 3 different grants, which is, I think, quite amazing. And the second was to create the WHAM Collaborative. And the collaborative was to bring together those leading scientists who were working in women's health research. And believe it or not, there appear to be less than 15 institutions who are supporting that kind of research. Doesn't mean that there aren't individual researchers out there, but there are truly less than 15 institutions that have that kind of support for women's health research. And so we aligned those 15 institutions together and brought them together, met up at Brigham Harvard, who is our lead scientific partner, and have tried to galvanize activities and gatherings and ways to bring them together to support and encourage and accelerate research that they're working on. And the third, which we're very excited about, was to create a data-driven compendium that would show what would happen if we did accelerate women's health research in the next 5-10 years, what has happened over the past 5 or 10 years that has had a deleterious effect on women's health and on the economy. Because at the end of the day, this is an economic imperative.
So thank you, Carolee, for joining us. And now let's hear why WHAM really matters.
Thank you. So WHAM is going to make a difference. WHAM is the only way that we're going to create a major shift and change. And we're going to do that through the 3 ways that I just described, the Investigators Fund, the Collaborative, and the WHAM report, but also by informing and sharing this data with women, with companies and corporations, with institutions, and with NIH and other advocacy groups that can help. Without having the ability to bring people together at all different levels and from all different aspects, we won't make the kind of progress that we need. But we're pretty confident now that based on our relationship with the RAND Corporation, with whom we're collaborating to create the WHAM report, that we will have enough data that will show why these changes are so necessary and such an economic imperative.
Thank you so much, Carolee. And now let's hear and see why WHAM matters.
Did you know that women's health isn't just an inequality issue? It's also an economic one.
20 years ago, I started bringing together other executives and business leaders to talk about women's health. And what began as a desire to improve the well-being of women workers exposed me to something fundamentally wrong in women's health. In clinical research, women are an understudied species, which is hard to believe. And until 1993, women were not even part of clinical trials. Even more, until 2016, female mice were not included in clinical trials. This is not just an inequality issue, although it certainly is one, and it's also a social justice issue.
I didn't know. I, of all people, should have known better. I'm an MD and a PhD and a woman, and I didn't know.
We know today that almost every disease affects women differently than it does men, because we know that every cell in the body has a sex. Yet we still don't prioritize and invest in research that focuses on women or even includes women in sufficient numbers.
Women's lifetime risk of developing Alzheimer's disease is almost 2 times that of men, and about 2/3 of all Alzheimer's disease cases are women. Our research has found significant differences in the ways that men and women experience brain diseases. Alzheimer's disease impacts men and women differently.
1 in 3 women across the world who will die of a heart attack. There was a study that recently came out that in the past 10 years, all the studies of cardiology were looked at. Only 36% of the participants in those studies were women. The FDA came out with a 10-year analysis of medications. In over 300,000 participants, 36% were women and 4% were African American women. We are basing our treatment paradigm on analyses and statistics that don't even apply to us.
So often these discussions on inclusion create a false dilemma. Include more women or include people of color? Why does there have to be a choice? Sex, gender, and race can coexist as significant variables within the same studies.
In October, the FDA approved a new drug to prevent HIV, and actually it was only approved for the male population because the drug developer did not consider any woman in the clinical trial design. And this is a huge problem.
Sex differences research is not just a women's issue. It's good science. And to combat this issue, we need a 360-degree approach that tackles both funding research and educating the medical community.
Biological differences between men and women mean that diseases and treatments for men and women should be different.
No business would make decisions based on information that excludes 50% of its customers. We shouldn't either.
The WHAM report is really critically important because we need to build the case for change, and that requires data. So I think that the WHAM report is going to really make that case and show not only what those significant disparities are, but also the economic impact.
As a female CEO, I know that women are the driving force in the global economy, yet health disparities continue to hold women back. This is not just bad for our families and communities, this is bad for our economy and for our world.
What if we were to accelerate women's health research? What impact might that have?
My partnership with WHAM is important to me because understanding why men and women may experience this disease differently, with different incidence rates and prevalence rates, different rates of progression, is vital to understanding how it is we're going to get to precision medicine.
That's why I'm excited about WHAM. It forces us all out of our disease silos and challenges researchers and economists to look across diseases that disproportionately impact women.
The WHAM Collaborative has really brought together tremendous leaders from multiple areas, including scientific economic, business, we're all coming together focusing around a certain question of how can we improve women's health.
Expanding the pool of investors and leaders on this issue will really enable funding for scientists to make these critical breakthroughs, to ensure that we continue to support researchers and clinicians who prioritize this work.
WHAM is leading this charge and is using compelling economic data to make the case for change.
I'm not a researcher, I'm not a clinician, I'm not a policy advocate, except I've become one. I know that everyone has a role to play in demanding changes that we want to see in our health system.
We need to insist on creating this change, one that will impact everyone by improving and equalizing health research and raise the economic well-being of women, our families, and the country's population. By asking the right questions, we'll find the right solutions.
As promised earlier in the show, we're back now with international music artist Renee Fleming, who will lend her voice to researchers to uncover the power of music in the brain.
As a performing artist, I have long been fascinated with the powerful effect of music on the brain and human health. I even had my brain activity scanned in an fMRI while singing for Sound Health, my collaboration with the NIH and the Kennedy Center.
Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you.
My interest in creating this project, bringing together the Kennedy Center and the National Institutes of Health, was in amplifying the breadth of the work in research, in childhood development, certainly in therapies. I noticed research coming out about the fact that music has been discovered to be in a lot of parts of the brain, and therefore it engages so much of us. I felt instinctively that not enough people knew about this work. And I also felt that it helps music and the arts maintain a place in society that they really should have.
So, what was it like for you in that brain scanner?
Well, it's an incredible challenge because you're not supposed to move. And it was 2 hours. I was in the machine for 2 hours. I offered myself as a guinea pig in this fMRI experiment on music. And the test was devised to try and understand how music affects the brain in different ways. So they had me singing, imagining, singing, and speaking. I chose something that I thought I could sing 13 times comfortably. And I also chose something that I thought I could have an emotional connection to in an MRI. And it was The Water is Wide.
The water is wide, I cannot cross on. And I wings to fly. Give me a boat that can carry me to.
The result, when you look at the pictures, is that different parts of the brain are engaged in all three cases. And surprisingly, imagining singing was the most powerful, had the most engagement. The actual singing piece was easier, but the imagining piece took more effort, a little bit more focus, more intention. There's musical elements, I think we will eventually understand, to have more power over us, whether it's melody, certain harmonies, harmonic tension. Why do we cry in certain music? Why does certain music lift us up, make us feel joy, or inspire us to action? There's a small amount of creativity and improvisation going on in performance because that's the art of interpretation. How am I going to shape this line? How am I going to create a color that is particularly effective in this moment? Or, how will I build the emotional content?
I feel inspired by leaders like Meryl, Renee Fleming, Mandy Moore, and other advocates we heard from today, as we at Ideagn and our partnering organizations of other fearless leaders and the causes they support, including feelings of hope, inspiration, admiration, and confidence that we can achieve these global goals by 2030. Meryl, let's continue to share our collective voices, support of one another, and bring these important causes that include gender equality, empowering women and girls, and all of the 17 SDGs to the forefront of what we are doing to change the world.
Thank you, Adriana, and thank you to Ideagn for the generous invitation to join you on the summit. Adriana, from my generation, it's all about your generation to carry on. So please, if you would, take our 30-day brain health challenge at bebrainpowerful.org. Help us spread the word. And as we say goodbye, one last reminder on why we invite organizations to join the Be Brain Powerful campaign from its executive producer, Brooks Kenny.
Hi, I'm Brooks Kenny with Us Against Alzheimer's. I want to tell you a little bit about the campaign here in the US, why we started it, and how things are going. We started the campaign out of our own sense of urgency that it was time to put a spotlight on women's brain health. For too long, we've been mired in stigma with Alzheimer's disease. We know that women, particularly women of color, are more likely to have the disease, and we are often finding ourselves in the role of caregiver. But it's not a conversation that we're having on a regular basis. We actually had a hypothesis. We thought women would be more likely to want to talk about their brain health than perhaps talk about Alzheimer's disease. You know, there are lots of health topics that are part of our regular conversation. Heart disease, diabetes, cancer. Well, we need Alzheimer's to be at the top of the list. And the way we can do that is by shifting the conversation, one from dread to one of hope and empowerment, because indeed there are things we can do to care for our brain.